What if gravity just stopped for 1 second? This question sounds simple. What if gravity just stopped? Just for 1 second? One tiny second? Would anything really change? Yes, everything would change, and possibly never be the same again. First, let's define what we mean by gravity stopping. Gravity isn't a machine you can switch off like a lamp. It's the bending of space-time by mass, according to Einstein. But let's imagine, for the sake of this nightmare, that for one full second, all gravitational attraction throughout the universe simply vanishes. Every force of gravity between every object just zeroes out. Poof, gone. At first, nothing would happen. That is, in the first few milliseconds, you probably wouldn't notice. You're sitting at your desk, phone in your hand, coffee nearby. But during that single second, Earth, along with everything on it, is no longer held together. The oceans, the air, you, the moon, all are suddenly and completely unbound. You are no longer being pulled toward Earth. So what happens next? Well, Newton's first law kicks in. With gravity gone, there's nothing to keep you grounded, and nothing to slow you down. Your body starts moving in a straight line at whatever speed you had at the moment gravity vanished, which, for most of us, is a speed of 0 relative to the Earth's surface. But the Earth itself is spinning. Fast. At the equator, Earth's surface rotates at over 1,600 kilometers per hour. Normally, gravity keeps you tightly pressed down as the planet spins under your feet. But with gravity turned off, your connection to that spinning surface vanishes. You keep moving tangentially while the ground curves away beneath you. In other words, you start flying, sideways. Every person, car, building, and tree on the surface begins drifting upward and sideways, following their own personal trajectory into the air. Planes are suddenly untethered from their flight paths, satellites feel no pull, and the moon, which usually orbits Earth, begins flying in a straight line, drifting away at nearly 1 kilometer per second. The oceans don't stay still either. Billions of tons of water surge upward and outward, forming massive arcs of seawater that rise like colossal blue tsunamis into the sky. Only there's no sky anymore, just a directionless void where up has lost all meaning. Then, after exactly 1 second, gravity returns. Everything, the water, the people, the buildings, the planes, the clouds of dust and oxygen, is now airborne and moving chaotically. And now suddenly, everything is being pulled straight back down, instantly. But here's the problem. Most of it is no longer exactly where it started, and it's definitely not falling gently. Remember that initial sideways drift from Earth's rotation? Depending on where you were standing, you might now be several meters, or kilometers, away from where you started. You're falling back down, but not onto the same spot. Buildings collapse under sideways stresses. People slam into walls. Oceans crash down in vast, unpredictable sloshes, triggering continent-sized mega-tsunamis. Aircraft that were only slightly airborne may now come crashing down at terrifying speeds. And that's just Earth. Remember the moon? It's now off course, its orbit broken. It may be caught again, or it may drift endlessly into space. The tides will never be the same. In orbit, satellites went flying in straight lines when the force that kept them circling vanished. When gravity comes back, they're no longer in orbit. They're in the wrong place, wrong speed, wrong angle. Some will fall to Earth, some will collide. GPS is now garbage. Communications? Gone. The sun holds the planets in orbit via gravity. A 1-second interruption would nudge every planet into a slightly different trajectory. Orbits become unstable. Earth might slowly spiral inward toward the sun, or drift out into cold darkness. Even the atoms in your body could experience catastrophic chaos. But honestly, you won't live long enough to notice. Air would surge upward and outward, expanding into space. Most of it would fall back down when gravity returns, but not all of it. So to summarize, turning gravity off for 1 second would be like giving the entire universe a brief but devastating shove. On the bright side, if you happen to be floating when it started, and if you land in a swimming pool when it ends, you might survive. Might? But hey, at least now you know. Gravity may be invisible, but if it ever took a break, even for a second, you absolutely would not miss it.